So clearly, people are taking stock tonight. We're taking stock of all the questions we have asked you over the past 8 months and received no substantive answers to. Although I do want to acknowledge a fresh and important voice on the board that does consistently try to push this dialogue beyond platitudes. And again, want to thank Ms. Schneier for doing that, because I think real dialogue is incredibly important. I won't hand you a list of questions. I really only have one. Just listening to and reading all the proclamations of how much the board cares about our children, I think there was a very easy way to show that when you could have instructed your employee, the superintendent, to work with us collaboratively, to work out issues, to create committees, whatever it takes. You have elected not to do that. And it is very difficult to believe that there is actual care behind that, because that seems like a really thoughtful and frankly simple way to move forward. So my question to you is, why did you elect to not do that? Because you do have the power to compel him to collaborate with parents. Ms. Schiff, I thank you for writing the opinion piece that was referred to several times tonight, because I think we now have a perfect compilation of the half-truths and omissions and outright misinformation that this district consistently uses to gaslight parents. And I won't address the things that have already been addressed and debunked, but I do want to talk about one specific part of that opinion piece, and I will quote. You wrote that the district was delighted to learn that Assemblyman Burdick and State Senator Harcum are working to enact a notice bill that would essentially help state education law to catch up to the policy changes KLSD adopted in response to concerns from our community. So let's be clear, this board did absolutely nothing, having learned that a child was restrained routinely with no notification to parents. While you would like to flip the script so you can run victory laps because of a policy change with respect to parent notification, the reality is you made this change only after community members rebuked you in droves for taking no action. Because of the trauma that occurred on the watch of this administration and this board, KLSD is the poster child for why this legislation is urged at the state level currently. That is the reputation this board's incompetence has attached to us. When this administration repeatedly failed to notify my family of its traumatizing my non-speaking son via routine use of restraint on him over weeks and months, and the superintendent concluded via his quote unquote investigation that this was not abusive, we appealed to the board. Ms. Schiff, contrary to her proclamations that the BOE welcomes parents' concerns, turned us away and sent us instead to complain to the New York Department of Education. We went back to her again, clarifying that she had no interest in hearing from us. It was made clear that she and the board did not. The board and Ms. Schiff, as its communicator-in-chief, could have taken that dialogue in a variety of directions. They could have expressed concern or curiosity. They could have chosen to be the eyes and ears they claim to be for my family, for this family in their community. Instead, their preference was to kick us to the lawyers. Their preference was to waste this community's tax dollars on a legal confrontation headed by the special education attorney, as opposed to try to avoid a legal confrontation via the human approach of dialogue with my family. In spite of Ms. Schiff's overly solicitous and saccharine overtures to various members of this community since then, she and the board had zero interest in what my family had to say about our experience. They had already heard everything they believed they needed to know from the administration and their attorneys. It wasn't until our work as an advocacy group got going that Ms. Schiff and the board responded to my third request for a meeting, but subsequently denied it again because we wanted to meet as an advocacy group with some board members. I'm walking the community through this so that there is a clear understanding that families, when they encounter a lack of desire on the part of the district to support them and their children, are forced into legal recourse by this indifference, by the indifference we encounter at the administration and the board level. Legal recourse, which only enriches the district attorneys who continue to endlessly appeal any decision made in the parents' favor, the attorneys who get paid more, the more adversarial the relationship between the district and the parents. And I hope our community will consider if this is really the best stewardship of our tax dollars. I think this community deserves a board that does not believe they are owed a debt of gratitude and derive no status satisfaction from sitting in this body. I believe that in the midst of so many challenges that our children face, we need to engage our community. You need to engage your community. I think that anyone who doesn't really believe in that kind of real dialogue shouldn't really consider themselves the eyes and ears of our community. Thank you.